Hello and welcome to Mezzanine Talk. I'm your host, Jean Marais. This show is powered by Tunes Recording and Rehearsal Studio. And today we have the privilege of getting to know a highly inspiring, motivating, and versatile musician, producer, band leader, tutor, you name it. He's a man that fills many roles. He has played bass on the show Koortjies on Kyknet. He has won awards at the Standard Bank National Arts Festival 2020 and 2021. He has worked and collaborated with artists such as Karen Kortje, Simangile Mashazi, Ramon Alexander, and Les Javan. Welcome to the show, Chadley, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I
Thank you so
introduce to
much,
you
man.
Chadley Gower.
Thank you so much, Sean. So a great pleasure to be here, man. Great honor.
Sê vir my, Mr. Africa, waar kom hy nickname vandaan?
Man, dis iets wat mense dit hulle het vir my gegee. So I composed this tune in 2010 and it's actually named after a guy from Hanover Park waar ek oorspronklik vanaf is. And it's based on how this guy made me feel. Whenever I performed, hy't so excited geraak vir my. And one day he took a taxi to come and see me perform at the V&A Waterfront. And whenever I used to play at churches around in the area, he would come and he would always make time to speak to me. So the song was inspired by the feeling I got whenever I spoke to Mr. Africa. And I can obviously relate it to someone like Madiba as well.
Yes.
You know, what he's done for our nation and die mooie eienskappe en daai tipe goede. So it's basically just that joyous feeling and the character of the person. So, and after I released the song, toe dink mense nou, okay, jy is Mr.
Jy is nou
Africa.
Mr. Africa.
Jy is Mr. Africa.
So is amper asof die persoon lewe deur jou.
Wow, ek het dit nooit so gesien, but yeah, actually.
Jy vat nou daai legacy aan. Dis soos 'n piece of dis 'n stukkie erfenis
Yes.
wat so deurgedra word van daai ou wat
Yes.
wat daai persona het van jy weet stick to the basics,
Yes.
joy, love.
Ek daar's
jy
hy.
weet, daai tipe
Presies.
ding.
En hy is nou ongelukkig nou nie meer met ons nie. Hy het so 'n paar jaar terug het hy gesterf. But what a wonderful guy. Ek het hom nog gesien tot baie oud and it was a beautiful relationship that we had.
Ja.
Ja.
Dis mos hoe dit gaan. Die mooiste mense word mos maar
Ja.
hulle
True.
hulle word gevat.
Yes.
You've released an album at the end of April, where now I'm at a loss for words. Where the love,
The love I know.
the love I know. Sorry, man. The love I know. What was the hardest part of realizing this production?
Man, I was due to release in 2018 already. And then obviously I wasn't happy with the product that I had then. But you know, pressure of people. Nou, jy moet iets uitsit. Wanneer gaan jy jou album uitsit? And luckily, luckily for me, I wasn't by the means then to release the album because it was done. It was mixed and mastered already. And then I got another opportunity to then relook at some of the stuff.
To re-record.
Re-record some of the
Okay.
stuff. And actually turned out great. So yeah, I had a lot of challenges with this album.
So you dodged the bullet there, you would
I
say.
dodged the bullet.
Yeah.
I actually started the recording in 2016 already. And I finally released in 2024.
Yeah, that's how it goes. People don't understand projects like these. It takes a lot of time, perseverance,
Of course.
especially in the day and age we are now, where the tables are sort of turned upside down. The odds are kind of stacked against the artist.
Yes.
So I think what I take from that is the hardest part was actually not just completing the process, but also just being happy with what you have. Because as an artist, you often find that, cool, I've got this, but is it really portraying me right now?
That's my next point that I will actually raise. So it's a quite serious title, The Love I Know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not even 40 yet. Fairly young. So wat praat jy van liefde? Wat 'n liefde, you know, jy
Wat
is
het jy
nog
nou al
wat het
ervaar?
jy al ervaar?
Ja.
And I can say by the delays that I've encountered, it's almost like it's some lessons that I had to learn still before I can actually talk about this music, this love that I've experienced, this love that I know and came to understand or experience. They can actually. So when I speak about For My Good, that's on the album,
Mm.
I've went through certain stuff to understand that. I don't want to preach now, but doesn't matter what happens. It has to be like that. Alles werk uit vir 'n doel.
Ja.
And it op die einde van die dag it's for your good. So that's lessons that I needed to learn. When I write a song or play a song like Beautiful Love, it's a love story of where there's a young man encountered a heartbreak and said, "Ah, gaat you weer worry met girls? Nee, I'm not interested in that. I'm just going to be here, you know." But then I fell in love with my wife. You understand?
That's
things like-
beautiful. How it sort of carried over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I can say that love is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. But as a young person, you don't know that. You don't understand that.
That's deep on an emotional level, because it's almost like there was a certain process inside of you that needed to be complete before
Exactly.
you could actually, let alone the music and let alone how you feel about your phonic output or your
Yes.
sonic output.
Yeah.
Not even speaking about that, there was a deep emotional connection that was not ready. It wasn't
Yeah.
made yet.
Of course.
I
yeah,
like
no,
that.
definitely. So that's also I like to think about it that way. That there was reasons for the delay, even on a deeply emotional level. And also from my personal stance and view. Like things that I needed to understand and learn in life. Like
Yes.
another story is my India Kukumbula.
I was going to ask you about that song, India Kukumbula.
We'll speak, but I mean, it's people in my life that I've lost, and yeah, but I will speak about that. So I needed
No,
to.
you can speak about that. My question was very simple. It was just I saw that was the only Isikosa
Yes.
name song title. So I was just
Yeah.
wondering what is up with that. Where did the title come from?
So my parents, especially my grandma, she's from Eastern Cape,
Okay.
and so in our household, I explained to someone actually last night. It would have been Afrikaans and isiXhosa. So senior sisters they like to skinner because we don't understand. So they would speak and make fun of us in Xhosa and so forth. So, but she was quite fluent in the language, and so it's a song that I've written for her, and she basically raised me. Sy het my grootgemaak
Your
from
grandmother.
my grandmother,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just something in her honor and just saying that I miss you, but in a language that she would understand.
Yeah. Another one, Sammy on Bass, another song title. Why did you choose that title?
Sammy Weber. I don't know if you know him or know of him.
No.
So I'm gonna actually make a very bold statement
Yeah.
today. In my opinion, he's the greatest bass player I know.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's South African Cape Townian bass player, very well known for his works with VJR. It's a very popular band with Ian Smith on trumpet, Andrew Ford on the keyboard, and Frank
Okay.
Bacco on drums.
Oh, wow.
It was a quartet, and they used to tour and play everywhere in South Africa, even abroad. So I met Sammy easily. I think it was 2011, or it could be 2010, 2011, right about there. But even before we met, I was a big fan of his style of playing. He's known for his slap bass. So that's why the slapping in the song,
The
the
funk
funk, yeah.
aspect.
Oh, he
Yeah,
loves funk.
yeah, that's cool.
Sammy loves
You
funk.
said the band VBR,
VJR,
VJR,
Virtual Jazz Reality.
right?
And we started our friendship, and we actually grew very close to each other. I had him on a couple of my shows where he just came. So what happened, and also something that strengthened our relationship, they stole my guitar. And he was one of the first people to call me and say, "Hey, Chad, come and take one of my guitar. You can use one of my basses." And I had it for a couple of months until I could buy a new one.
You never found that guitar back.
I heard where's the guitar,
Ah.
and I heard how it got stolen. But yeah, it's obviously
But that's not your chord 5-string, your main.
no. That was the chord 60. But I have another A6 chord A6, but that was my previous A6
Okay.
I paid that bass off in 3 installments. It was my first professional bass that I bought actually.
Nice.
But anyway, so Sammy heard about that. He called me, said, "Chad, come and take one of my basses, use it until you okay again." But anyway, the song. So when I grew up, I used to watch VJR or whatever band Sammy was in at the time. I used to. So in Mitchell's Plain, there's a mall that opened that year. It's called the Promenade Mall, and Sammy performed. I can't remember what's the band called, but it was Celeste Williams on the piano and vocals. The guy, I think the guy was on the guitar was Rory as well.
Another Rory.
Another Rory, Mickey
That's-
Rory.
That's our tech, Rory Almond.
And it was Randall Seister. Shame we lost him a couple of weeks ago. He was on drums. Ian Smith was on the trumpet, and it was such a. But it's the way they introduce Sammy, and then they would say Sammy on bass,
Right.
and then he would come out with his big slap solo,
Yeah.
and Sammy was just this cool bass player, always dressed so well. He was like the dude in the band, and he,
Now I understand the title. There's a dude in the band, it's Sammy on bass.
Sammy on
Yeah.
bass. So it's also my tribute to him, and also just celebrating and honoring him for the role he plays in my life, and also the inspiration. And strangely enough, at his 40th anniversary of his celebrating his 40th year in the music industry, he actually featured me, and then I called him. I said, "Sammy, what am I doing at your show? I mean, I wasn't part of your 40th. I came into your life quite late in your life."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, it's not about what you've done this far. It's where you're taking it.
Yeah, right.
So you are taking
right.
it forward." And
Once again, there's that theme again. We just spoke about living forward,
Of course.
somebody else's sort of persona
yeah,
of taking forward.
exactly. So that's the story with Sam, and we've got a great relationship.
What a beautiful story.
Thanks, man.
Now, sort of coming back to the album and sort of delving into the theoretical, I guess you could say, sort of framework of albums and releasing music.
Sure.
So, what part of having released an album satisfies you the most, especially sort of viewed on a backdrop of an almost hedonistic way in which music gets released nowadays? And if I'm saying that hedonistic way, there's a lot of stuff I'm referring to, but obviously there's a bit of AI in there with when I use the term hedonistic, but also
Yes.
also there's a thing of like just so much music getting released. Like it's so daunting and big, and like there's so much music around. Everybody has a bedroom studio, which is cool. That's great. I'm not knocking that at all. What I'm just trying to say is the market is definitely flooded.
Yes.
So what part of having released an album sort of satisfies you the most, viewed against that backdrop?
That's quite interesting. I think the main thing for me is obviously for people to sort of get an idea of who I am and what's the sound that's in my heart, because I think everyone, although it's easily or easily can be copied, but I think everyone's got a sound. And for me, just being able to put out a sound that's uniquely me, because obviously I've got inspirations. I've got people that has done this thing before me, playing a bass but doing a solo thing on the bass. So how am I going to be different or not copying Musa Manzini
Yeah.
or Sipu Kumere, the people that
Rather channeling,
yeah,
maybe, but
of
not
course.
copying.
Yeah. So I think at the end of my product, I was like, okay, this is me. I've drawn great inspiration from these guys. So that's number one, I would say. But also the message that I want to bring across.
Yeah.
And the sincerity of the message that I want to bring across through the album. It's just the sincerity of love again. You know, people that really love one another or spreading love or
The love I know.
the love I know, you know, and be real about it. That thing of just having a people or country or community that, like in the older day, look out for one another.
Yeah.
And so I want to celebrate through my album the real things in life, the where we still cared about each other. It's so easily, or it's so easy nowadays to be fake and to be unreal or whatever. I want to bring that thing through my music,
Yeah.
where we can actually, you know, be sincere with one another. Somebody said, I don't want your respect if it's not sincere or if it's not what is the word they used?
Pure.
Yeah, if it's not pure. You understand? So I wanna. That's the thing. The things that I want to bring across through my music, and that is the satisfaction that I got. And whenever I speak to people, just this morning, I there's a video that I've loaded onto to my WhatsApp of one of the tunes that I performed over the weekend, "Beautiful Love" on my album, and it was just the response was, "Wow, this is such a lekker song." It always
Because it's honest.
yeah, and it brings that happiness and that joy, and that's exactly what the song is about. It's happiness, it's joy, it's it's love.
It's kind of a in the individualistic sort of way of society. The stuff that you're talking about is hard to come by. It is
Yeah,
it's hard to come by that sense of community of really just caring for your neighbor or your next the neighbor next to your neighbor without even maybe knowing him, just
true.
to care on a human level. You know?
Yes.
Ubuntu.
And I was privileged to grow up. I'm not that old, but I mean, I grew up in a time where, I mean, it was on the Cape Flats. And
We are basically the same age. I checked, so
Is it?
which means that both of us was born in the late 80s.
Yes.
And I mean, my younger people might not grasp this fully, but it was a totally chaotic time in the
Yeah.
history of South Africa.
Yeah.
The country was burning.
Of course. But still, even through the gangsterism, where I grew up, I mean, there was still love.
Mm.
You could play outside. The auntie would give you bread if you need bread. She would give you water. You could ask the next door neighbor for whatever you needed in that time. So, and that's where I draw that thing from.
Simplicity.
You understand? And love and care. You know, that thing. So, and yeah, like you say, maybe some people won't understand, younger people won't understand it, because I see it now. Obviously, I've got a younger kid, and we don't know the next door neighbors. He will never understand
Yeah. Things have changed.
that what we knew as growing up and things like that.
Dinge het heeltemal verander.
Heeltemal verander.
As ek nou verder dink, die volgende vraag gaan miskien so 'n bietjie klink of dit dieselfde is, maar dit is eintlik glad nie. Ek wonder from the perspective of the artist of Chadley, and
Yes.
from a career perspective, this album that you have released, sort of, what makes it worth it for you to still go through all these motions of writing and recording an album, when it can seem like there's too little or little to no monetary value in it, especially taking into account the high costs of a production like this. So
Sure.
I think this question is a little bit less philosophical, although I don't really believe in something less philosophical, because anything can be philosophical or not, and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
depends
yeah.
how you look at it. But
course.
I think this question for me, I'm more referring to sort of theoretically speaking, career speaking. What still makes it worth it for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, the album was done in 2018. And then I spoke to a producer and he said, and obviously after I spent a lot of money already on that project because, like I said, the album was done. And he said, make peace with the fact that that's a demo.
Yeah, that is so hard. That is so hard. But that I think
felt like crying, man.
that is a lesson that many artists have learned before.
Yes, he said, yeah, make peace.
Yo.
That's a demo.
Yo, I nah.
I felt, yeah, I didn't feel too like about it. Yeah, no. I mean,
Obliterated. Yeah.
in a way, I'm like, how can you disrespect me like this?
Yeah.
And let alone the amount of effort and money that I've put into this project.
Yeah.
But I understand, and if I listen to the newer version of the album, I can actually understand
Now you understand.
what it meant. But man, to be honest, I'm just happy. And another thing, someone said we spoke on the online streaming platforms, and then the conversation was, is there money in these things? And I don't know if it's just me or maybe my music is not good enough, but I haven't seen money yet. And someone actually said, see it as a business card.
Yeah.
A very good business card,
Yeah.
a very expensive,
Very expensive business.
business card.
Yeah.
And I view it like that nowadays, where I can send my album. So most of the festivals you apply to or at, they ask for a link.
Mm.
So that can be my expensive link that I
Yeah.
send to them. And I mean, I doubt they listen to your music or album. They look at it, maybe they'll listen to the first track and then they make up their mind. Whatever happens. At least you've done your part then to sort of also present yourself in that way.
Maar ek dink Chadley Gower, die artist met daai full-length album, The Love I Know, jy's baie beter af met daai as sonder dit.
Absoluut,
Ek dink dis die crux van die van die matter.
definitely. And ek is ook a firm believer that everything happens in its time.
Yeah, all in good time.
All in good time, and also how you set yourself up for certain things. I've been in this thing for close to 20 years, and I've seen dit gebeur nie oornag nie. I work with, en jy het gesien, I work with extremely young boys, 19, 20 years old, 21 years old. And this is the type of lessons that I want to teach them. En is goed wat ek persoonlik deurgemaak het. There was many times that I've cried en vra, Here, maar hoekom gebeur dit nie met my nie? Hoekom gaan die deure nog nie vir my
oop?
You understand? I am professional. I can play. I know I have got the ability to do certain things. But dit was nog nie my tyd nie. So,
it's a hard thing to make peace with.
Azan, I can promise you there was many nights I cried myself to sleep.
Hey.
Because you know you are able.
You know your worth.
You know your worth. Yeah. You know what you can do. You even know what you bring to the party.
Yes.
Because there's no hassles when you're around. You early, you professional, you know your music, you bring an extra music stand for the next person.
So caring, ja.
Yes, that. So, but met dit gesê, met die album, met die hele pakket as Chadwick Howard, die artist en alles dit, I really think dat alles werk ten goede uit. Dit is deel van 'n groot plan. En dit is waar ek nou is en waar ek even was toe ek die album release het. I can see the growth and I can see what the album means for me and for other people.
En dan het ek ook gewonder, baie van jou werk is instrumental music, right?
Yes.
So, dis altyd vir my interessant en ek het ook al op 'n paar instrumental albums gewerk en dis fascinate my altyd, hoe kies die mense die songname vir instrumental songs?
Yes.
So, dis 'n cool proses daai. Want ek het ook so 'n paar original compositions wat ek aan werk en paar mense ingekry en so 'n bietjie van 'n release gedoen hier net na COVID en vir my was dit ook net so cool proses om soos okay cool, maar wat gaan ek hierdie song noem want daar's geen lyrics nie.
Yes,
en dan probeer ek soos half soos ons nou gepraat het in die erfenis van die song in probeer dink. Dan dink ek maar wat se gevoel vang hierdie song vas en waar was ek toe ek daai gevoel gehad het? Of miskien is dit een van die vrae wat ek vra.
Yes. Ek het so ek is besig. I want to record again soon. En een van die tunes wat ek het, sy naam is The Time Is Right.
Sy ons het nou net gepraat daarvan.
Maar die is obviously daar's baie goed wat gebeur, maar as ek net kan kyk na die time signature van die song. At some point we in 13/8. At some point we in 4/4. And in some point we in the 7/8.
Nice.
Maar, and like people call it odd time signatures. Maar wat ek of wat ek sê is, it might feel odd, maar die tyd is reg.
Die tyd is reg. Daai is beautiful.
But you can look at it so much deeper.
Yeah.
You know, in life, things doesn't always feel lekker. It feels odd.
Ja. Maar dis mal want odd time signature is net 'n odd time signature because of jou idee van timing.
Yeah, come on now. Exactly.
So as jy nou begin praat oor Indiese scales of Arabiese scales,
yes.
Jy weet, ons praat nou nie eens meer van timing nie, maar dieselfde ding. Dan dan is dit maar 'n tipe ding van soos, okay, wat is jou raamwerk? Wat is jou konteks?
Exactly. I met this amazing artist by die Jazz Fest after party. En hulle is van India. En at first, ons luister na haar, sy kom, sy vat die mic, en sy sing almal die Indian exotic scale.
Is dit Vari?
Yes.
Vari Yashri?
Yes. En at first luister ons en ons dink, oh, it sounds weird. En toe gaan sy, want it was the first time I actually saw her. And man, oh man, die vrou is diep.
They killed it. That band was so good. I watched them.
Ek kon nie hulle performance kyk because I had to sound check for my performance. But they came to the after party and you see. Sy en nog 'n ou wat saam met haar was.
Hulle doen daai
Yes.
It's crazy. Ek weet nie eens wat jy dit noem nie, maar dit is baie crazy om dit te sien.
Daar so and it was amazing. But soos ek sê, soos jy nou net gesê het, maar in die konteks van wat jy sien en in konteks wat hulle dit sien of wat
heeltemal
different.
Sê vir my, met wie jy gewerk by die International Jazz Festival?
So I only did the after party. So I was sort of jam master. Saidkom Jam.
That is super cool.
die Moscow big
die
band het kom
orchestra
speel. I met a bass player. He played on my bass. Ek het die hele ding en we chatted a bit. Was het 'n paar standards gespeeld tussen mekaar. And it was amazing. And then obviously, what's his name, the drummer from UK.
Oh, Yusuf Days.
Ek en hy het goed heel aan gechat.
Ja, lekker.
Such a lovely guy.
Yes, hy speel hard, hè. Yes,
strange enough, hy was baie gentle by die
Is it? Was hy? Yes, hy's loud. Dis 'n super loud drummer.
For me, he was chill. Ek het hom nog nie gecheck by die festival. But by the after party, he was so gentle. Hy was baie gentle. And
dis miskien die space. Dis 'n goeie musician wat speel towards die space,
exactly.
Obviously.
Ek weet wat 'n venue het hulle speel by.
Ja, hy was die main stage.
So
dis big. So hy moet maar
hy moet 'n bietjie uithaal en
met my elbow grease.
So ek en Yusuf het nogal quite gejam, but wat vir my also amazing was my interaction met almal ons local ouens, Cape Town guys, Joburg guys, UK ZN guys. I love the guys from KZN.
Lekker. Waar was daai jazz festival after party?
Youngblood in Bree Street.
Okay. Ken jy die venue nie? Okay,
kyk, is my tweede keer wat ek dit host. Ek het dit in die laaste een voor COVID 2019 gehost. En dit was by die hotel self by die Cape Sun.
Yes.
And that's where Richard Bono came. That's where Corey Henry came. Sheila E's a band. They were there. Yeah. And this Sir Ray Reid is an American gospel bass player. Very great bass player and well known. And toe ek so uitstap, ek weet nie wat het ek gedoen nie, maar ek gegaan na die hotel lobby toe. En hy sê, hey bassman, roep hy my. And we spoke. So ja, hierdie jaar was dit net weer nog 'n voorreg om dit te kan host.
Ja.
And I met amazing people and obviously net weer mense wat jy miskien lanklaas gesien het. Like I used to work with Sipho Siso, Masolani van KZN and hy kom op na my vrou toe en hy sê vir my vrou, he's one of the best bass players I know. And then I've worked with and I mean, dit was maar net is 'n goeie verhouding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. You said already you grew up in Hanover Park. Yes. And I'm interested to know, have you or your peers written or recorded any music that sort of captured or portrayed a piece of cultural heritage from that area?
Wow. So obviously I'm a creative and I've written a show that I actually want to present it like a Woordfees or it was the Feest. And it's called Down Hanover Park Avenue. So, and in that show, I actually want to feature some of our
heritage stories.
Our stories, yeah. And maar ook some funny, the great musicians and even
the showcase.
Yeah. So, ek weet nie of jy ken vir Ezra Lingeveld. He's a singer. He was on Idols back
I know the name, yes.
Hy het nou nog 'n paar jaar terug toe swat hy nog by Stellenbosch. And I wanted to feature him. There's a jazz guitarist, Julius May, that's got a powerful story of being on drugs for 18 years.
Yeah.
And finally, he's drug-free for a couple of years now. And the great thing about him is that even through that 18 years of being on drugs, he never, hy nog nooit van sy gitaar ontslaag geraak het.
Ja.
So he was on drugs, but always with a guitar.
Ja, that is great.
En dis hoekom hy nog steeds vandag sy ability het. And I've done a couple of shows with him where I was in the band, I recorded with him as well. And beautiful stories, ek wil die stories vertel. Ek persoonlik het nog 'n song spesifiek geskryf soos vir waarvan ek kom.
Yes.
It's something that I would love to do.
But the concept is brewing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I did a homecoming show in Hanover Park once, and it's basically just celebrating the fact that I come from here. I went on to go experience a bit of life and gegroei and actually
full circle.
Yeah, came back and
terug, ja.
Yeah, but I mean, if I think about the song Mr. Africa, it's about a guy in Hanover Park.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. So
Yeah,
there we go.
of
Go
course.
listen to that song for a piece of cultural heritage.
Yes.
Uh, Het jy enige stories wat jy sal like om te vertel van Kaapstad of Suid-Afrika van daai tipe aard van jazz heritage cultural heritage stories wat miskien wat jy gehoor het 'n song iets wat want die rede hoekom ek dit vra want die jazzmusiek soos wat ons nou ook gesê het daar's baie instrumental stuff in jazzmusiek en dit is baie interesting en baie ryk hoe daai stories deurdra in die musiek. As ek dink aan 'n baie famous tale van Herbie Hancock se Watermelon Man. Waar hy mos nou daai met die piano het hy die rhythm nagemaak van die wa wat klak 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 ry daai wiele en dan het hy daai kraai van die street vendors het hy met die horn section het hulle dit gemimik. So dit is nou wat my laat dink aan om jou hierdie vrae te vra. So ek het maar net gedink, is daar iets wat jy miskien aan kan dink?
Ek is seker daar's klomp stories. Ek kan nie dink aan een spesifiek nie. But en jy praat so en onmiddellik dink ek aan 'n conversation wat ek gehad het. Ons was op pad na 'n gig toe in PE so 'n week of 2 terug. En ons praat oor die feit dat baie van ons stories is ook nie baie goed gedocument nie.
Ja.
We and obviously the conversation was to ons wat nou 'n bietjie jonger is wat nou dan die soos 'n podcast, access het 'n podcast of recording devices of cell phones. What are we going to do about it to actually om die stories te preserve
Document, ja.
and to document and that, you know, to be able to om die storie aan te dra naar die volgende generatie toe en obviously generations to come. Maar nie net stories, but just heritage in general. Ek is dankbaar vir iemand soos Son Johannes. Ek het sy master's thesis het dit gedeel met my en dit gaan oor two Cape Townian South African bass players. And he actually documents the way they play. Hy het dit uitgeskryf. So wat ek vat het hy boek uit its history being transferred over to the next and it will live in die history van ons musiek en van ons land vir ewig. Because now both of these bass players are late. They're not alive anymore, but he at least it's something that I would like to do for somebody like Sammy Weber.
Yes.
You know,
Wie is daai mense?
It's Spencer Mbadu.
Ja.
Great South African bass player, used to play for the greats.
Definitely know the name, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's Gary Creel. He was also very popular in America back in the day. He played all those big Motown stuff and whatever, but hy het ook na 'n paar jaar teruggekom and still played jazz up until the day that he passed away.
No? He must have been a pioneer. In terms
both of them.
Both of them, but in terms of, as a South African, making it sort of big overseas.
Yes.
Back in those days, if I'm sort of doing the maths right.
Hy het nog vir my storie vertel. You know, limousine was mos nou die kar van die dag. And he said, no, they used to pick me up in the limousine.
Yeah, in the limo.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But I'm also grateful to have met him before they passed. So the day I met Gary Creel, he actually saw me on TV play and then...
For the Quirky show?
No, that was pre-Quirky.
Was pre that?
I don't know which show it was, but I did something on TV and then... and I took his number and he gave me his landline. Not cell phone number, landline number. And I called him actually once and then we spoke. And the same with Spencer Mbadu. He actually called me once and he was the teacher at the, the music school in town in Buitengracht. What is it called now?
There's the SAE nie.
Nee. The works
Jazz Workshop.
Jazz Workshop.
Yes.
Yeah. And he to vra vir my sal ek interested wees om 'n paar klasse vir hom aan te bied van hy's besig en as hy dit nog nie kan maak nie. Dit was nou al 'n groot eer om 'n call van so 'n groot
Wow.
ou af te kry.
Wow.
En
Om te deb.
om te dip for him.
Wow.
And in 2016, when I played Jazz Fest, there's two people that came up to us, and in this lady posted actually in a publication. I reminded her of Spencer's playing,
Hmm.
and then another bass player came up to us and asked, "Are you a student of Spencer?" But it's the African sound, and he had a beautiful
Yeah.
sound. But it's, soos ek sê, Sean Johannes took the liberty to then write about this, and hy het die informasie oorgedra.
Yes.
And obviously, sulke goed het my aandag. I listened to the type of playing wat Spencer speel op iemand soos Robbie Hansen se Nomad Jazz album.
Ja.
And it's beautiful playing, man. Die laaste werk wat ek gehoor wat Spencer op speel was die Sons of Table Mountain, musical democracy.
Okay.
He plays, it's so fretless sound. It's
Ja.
beautiful, man.
Ja.
But hy het vir my hy sê the part that he used to play the gig with Abdullah Ibrahim. En hulle staan toe buite die club of restaurant. En is apartheid en die polisieman kom op na hom toe. En die polisieman vra, wat soek jullie? Wat soek jullie? En hy sê, ek speel die baas, my baas. En hy sê, die polisieman hom geklap van, hy dink toe, hey, vat jy my vir 'n pop?
Ja,
of
jy
iets?
maak nou jokes hier met my, maar eintlik is ek
speel die baas,
ernstig.
my baas.
Dit is 'n amazing story. Dankie vir daai
I
chat.
love Spence. I love
Ja, dis 'n beautiful story daai. Ek sou eintlik nogals like om meer sulke wel, dis ons lag nou daaroor, maar dit is traumatiese ervarings in daai
definitely.
tyd gewees, maar ek wil dit nie downplay nie. Ek sê maar net dit is beautiful stories en
course.
dit sal cool wees eintlik om nogal meer van mense se interactions te hoor, want of course daar was klomp goeters wat afgegaan het waar mense gemingle het en wit mense en swart mense
Yes,
saam
yes,
gespeel het
yes.
en bruin mense en geoperate het bokant die of buite die wet.
Yes.
En dis nogal brave om
Ja,
sulke goed te
ja,
doen
ja,
en
ek
daai
kan
is wat music doen. Dis wat music doen. Wat bring mense bymekaar en maak jou fearless dat jy gaan dit doen.
Ja, jy is willing om daai boundary te.
Yes, want ons praat hier van music.
Yes, see.
En speaking of which, ek wonder nou sommer hoe het music vir jou gevind back daarso by die huis? Hoe het
Yes,
jy waar kom jou music storie vandaan en dan wil ek verder hoor, jy weet ook waar het jy gaan swat en het jy gaan swat? Hoe het jou dinge geloop?
Man, ek my huishoud, my ma en al haar susters kan sing. Hulle was nogal wel bekend in die kerk vir hulle sang. En toe het my ma se suster se man kon gitaar speel. En obviously my neef, ek en hy selfe ouderdom en hy het toe die drummer, so hulle het altyd 'n instrumente by hulle huis gehad en so voort. En hulle toe nie bass play, so is altyd maar net gitaar en drums gehad. En toe obviously daar's 'n spot vir my oop. En ek het toe begin verlief raak op die bass. En die eenste ou wat ek vroeër van gepraat het wat vir lank op drugs was, hy het ook baie by ons huis gekom en hy het ook toe vir my toe aan die hand gevat om te leer meer om musiek. Dus begin ek met bass, maar toe leer my 'n bietjie gitaar en hy het nog gespeel en hy het baie gekuier by ons huis. En obviously in die kerk het daai ding mos net gegroei en tot die punt toe waar jy nou so in die kerk is dit mos vlakke. Jy speel in die junior band of in die youth band en eventually kan jy dan in die groot band speel. So ek was verlang was ek in die soos van die junior band en
Which is eintlik nogal cool want dan kan jy jou stripes earn. Jy weet jy dit inspire jou. It's like,
Exactly.
getting to the next level.
Exactly. So dat was definitief daai proses. Daar was so nog 'n kerk, ook aan my kerk, waar ek ook altyd by gespeel het. En dit was ook so hulle het nou nie so gesê in soveel woorde soos julle is die senior of die junior, whatever nie. Het was net, jy het geweet, daar is die seniors. En dit was nogal cool. So, musiek het vir my daar begin, in die huis, in die kerk, en obviously, my styl van my musiek was baie inspired deur, soos my ouma, soos ek vroeër gesê het, baie African traditional music het gespeel in ons huis. So my liefde vir al African gospel traditional music. Ek vang presies wat iemand soos Mandisi doen. Ek weet nie of jy al sy musiek gehoor het nie.
Ja.
Because dis die musiek wat ons mee opgegroei het in die huis.
Ek kan dit hoor in jou writing work,
Wow,
verseker. Nee,
ja.
ek kan dit duidelik hoor.
Yesie, thanks man. So, dit was dit. My ma op die ander kant was baie lief vir jazz. She's the one that wat jazz clubs gegaan het. She loved the lounge. So, as my ouma nou nie by die huis is en ons is alleen by die huis, dan sit my ma die jazz opvat. As my ouma by die huis is, kan sy nie die jazz luister nie. So, en wat nogal amazing is van daai is, ek weet nie of jy die jazz band Into, hulle is van Somerset West, hulle is van Somerset West, daai area, strand, en hulle was al daai tyd het hulle al gespeel al. My ma was, Into was een van haar favorite bands, and up until today, they're still operating, the band Into. So, dit, ja, hulle bestaan seker ook nou amper 40 jaar.
Must be, ja.
Ja, so daar is nog altyd vir my 'n cool connection op te maak, because I remember ek was baie klein, dan sal my ma altyd praat van haar favorite band, Into, jazz band, Cape Townian band, en hulle het altyd kom speel by die Hanover Park used to have a jazz lounge. It was just called The Lounge. En dan het hulle kom speel by die lounge.
Cool.
So ja, musiek het in die huis begin, in die kerk, en so het het gegroei. En obviously, as jy in die kerk is jy baie betrokke met so singmiddag, singaande, en concerts, gospel concerts, en dan sal jy speel, daar leer jy om te speel vir different bands, of vir different groups.
Dis waar die versatility vandaan kom.
Verstaan jy? En if you think about it today, actually, this is quite special, because you would never have a rehearsal, because wanneer jy gevra word om te speel vir die ander band, of vir, not your own band, the other band, it's because hulle band het nie uitgesteek nie, of hulle bassplayer het gecancel last minute, of iets het gebeur, en jy speel asof jy gerehears het, en you have to, jy moet daar staan en speel, en confidently, en ek dink dit was dat is een van the most powerful, hoe kan ek sê, learning grounds.
Ek dink dit is 'n golden thread ook daai, is daai level van confidence wat jy bereik waar jy kan speel, no matter what, jy sal swem uit daai situasie.
Exactly, yeah.
En dit is belangrik, want die ding is, dis 'n groot ding van hoekom luisteraars en toeskouers kyk na jou, because hulle wil relate met daai untouchable ding van jy's in control. En as hulle sien jy's nie in control nie, dan kan dit 'n probleem wees.
Exactly.
Want dan is jou armory, jou harnas is nou gekrenk, jy weet. So, ek dink daar is nogal 'n major belangrike ding wat jy tot die tafel toe bring, as jy wil praat oor stage presence, en as jy wil praat oor jong musikante, en wat hulle wil leer, jy weet, van 'n ou soos jou af. Nou,
ja, so net om klaar te maak.
Sorry, ek het jou nie in geval. Gaan verder met daai ene.
So, dit het gebeur, en then obviously, toe ek matrikuleer in 2006, het ek 2007 sommer begin werk. Maar in die middel van 2007 besluit ek, nee man, ek kan mos na musiekskool toe gaan. But at the time, dus het mos nou net ek en my ouma in die huis. So ek is die broodwinner in die huis. En ek gaan praat met haar, ek sê, look, daar is 'n musiekskool, almal gaan daar, it's quite popular, en ek is seker, I would make a success out of this thing. En sy het vir my, nee, my kind, man. It's not gonna work. Jy onderhou nou ons huishoud. So how can you take that away? En ek het het toe gelos, but obviously I still played. Kom 2008. Anyway, toe verloor ek daai werk.
Nou praat ons economic recession tye.
Company went into liquidation. And obviously, wat ek toe doen is toe musiek. En ek het altyd interest gehad in ek kan nie sê music, maar theory. Ek wil altyd meer weet. Just simple things like difference between a minor chord and a major chord. Minor scale, major scale. So die tipe goed het my altyd interesseer. Ek ontmoet toe 'n goeie vriend, Manuel Jardine, en hy bied toe musieklesse aan. En ons kon toe theory doen by hom op tot, ek dink graad 3 het ons gegaan. En dit was nogal 'n goeie experience vir my, because baie dinge vir my baie clear gemaak toe at that time. En dis die tyd toe ook soort van regtig toe nou in die industrie kom.
Op 'n relatively young age, want nou is jy 20.
Exactly.
Jy weet, so dis
En ek begin toe gigs te doen en mense begin toe nou betaal vir dis die
kom nou actually monetary value uit hierdie move
uit die ding uit. En so aangegaan, ek het gespeel, jam sessions important, very important. I don't know how healthy is it, hoe gezond het is nou, but ek weet out of experience, jam sessions is very important.
Ja, ek hoor dat jy sê daar is 'n bietjie van 'n teenstryd daar.
Ja.
Maar ek dink is meer healthy as wat dit nie is nie.
Of course, ja.
Maar daar is 'n ding van daar is baie kompetisie en kompetisie raak meer verhewe soos wat kapitalisme aangaan.
Of course.
En individualisme waarvan ons vroeër gepraat het. Maar ek dink as 'n mens jam sessions kan conduct, soos wat jy nou gepraat het van die after party wat jy gedoen het, nou nie op high level nie, maar
Yes.
ek praat nou maar net van dit, soos as jy miskien iemand het wat 'n veelsidige speler is, 'n oop kop het, en wat kan lei, wat mense 'n kans gee, jy weet, en wat nie die ding draai oorvat nie.
Exactly.
Dan kan dit help, maar ek hoor dat jy sê 'n jam session wat nie gestructure is nie. Dit kan maar moeilik raak, daai stories.
Back in the day, and this was around about 2007, 2008, there was a club in Stellenbosch, Thumbs Up. En hy was wel bekend vir 'n maandag aan jazz jam session. En dit is ook waar ek vir iemand soos Ramon Alexander ontmoet het. En baie ouens soos Robbie Jansen het gekom. And he wouldn't just play, he would give life lessons.
Ja.
So he would speak to even the educated ouens and say, fella, you've got the knowledge, you've got the education. So that sit here, but now I want it here.
Ja.
Because ultimately I want you to play from here. So ons het sulke life lessons in die jam sessions gehad. Then he would speak to us. We would come with the real book. Some van die ouens al kom met die real book. I said, no, leave the real book. Because if you're going to play from the chart, ze gaan nou net focus op die chart. I want you to be present. Be in this moment. Los die musiek. Play, even if you...
Play to the room.
Play to the room, but even if you make mistakes, you're going to make a mistake now, en jy gaan weet vir die volgende section waar ons weer gaan kom, jy gaan nie weer 'n mistake maak, because ek het daar 'n fout gemaak. Or maybe it was just so nice, ons besluit die fout is nou deel van die
Ons maak die fout weer. Ja.
You understand? So, and for my jam session, it's really to come out, learn. Ek sal altyd vir my boys sê, it's a song that you didn't know. Jy het 'n fout gemaak, jy het dit geken nie. Jy het miskien embarrassed gevoel, because they had to, hulle moes jou die chords heeltyd skree op die stage. Next week, you're coming back to the same jam session. En nou, jy het moeite gemaak om het te gaan leer. Because jy wil het weer speel, and now you want to play with confidence. You want to go as far as saying, but I can take a solo over the song. Because I know the chord changes. I mean, self vir 'n drama, I can play over the song en daai tipe dinge.
Ja.
So in terms of the music education, ek het gegaan tot daai vlak. I'm currently in a process where I am actually upskilling again. In terms of education. Ek kan nie te veel uitbrei daaroor nie,
Okay.
but
okay.
I'm in a process of upskilling.
Okay. Ek
I've
sou nie minder gedink het nie. Ouers soos jy wat wysgierig is, jy wil
yeah, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to preach to the. Ek wil
Ja.
preek vir die kinders en dan
jy's dan nou 'n mentor.
you
So,
understand.
'n mentor moet ook mos groei.
Exactly. And I'm in the process of learning the double bass.
Wow.
Things like that. So
That's
I
very cool.
definitely am upskilling and ja, ek dink vorentoe en soos jy sê, ek werk met mense wat ek mentor. So
Ja.
if I want to be the difference that I want to see or that I want to make.
Sê sê vir my
Dat ek 'n bietjie tee drink.
Ja, vat 'n sluk asseblief. Ek kom eens agter jy doen meeste van die praatwerk so
Jammer, vergewe
jou
my.
keel moet nee, dis hoe ek dit wil hê. Ek sê maar net ek dink nie daaraan dat jy moet die tyd seker lekker dors wees van al die gepraatery. Ek dink dis so afgesaagde ding om eintlik vir 'n artist te vra, maar ek kan nie help om curious te wees nie.
Yes.
Hoe verloop 'n sort of, well, quote unquote normal day in jou lewe en waarmee ek waarby ek probeer uitkom is soos in wat is jou wat is die aspek van music maak wat jou die besigste hou tans?
Yes, see. So ek het natuurlik my vinger in 'n heel wat 'n klomp goed. Admin is a big part of what I do.
Ja.
Beplanning is 'n groot deel. I have to manage 'n hele paar dinge soos kom ek het 'n residency where ek so speel in 'n trio. I for one is nie altyd beskikbaar nie. So I always need to
Jy
make
moet
sure
organise dat iemand daar
dat daar 'n
is.
depth for the bass is. Ja. But then the other two also, hulle het ook lewens of hulle het ook ander goed wat hulle besig hou. So sometimes is hulle nie beskikbaar as then I need to en ons speel 5 keer oor 'n naweek.
Ja.
So I need to make sure that daar 5 bands of 5 keer musikante is.
Ek het gesien is dit daai Housendal
Yes.
ja.
Yes. So daai ding hou my redelik besig. I practice a lot. I do TV. So in 'n week se tyd skiet ons weer 4 episodes. So hierdie week
Vir wat se show?
koortjies vir koortjies.
O, vir koortjies.
Ja.
Okay.
So vanaf donderdag leer ek dan om musiek tot en met Dinsdag. Van volgende Woensdag is ons afvaas basically ons grooming dag het. Ons gaan
Ja.
na die barbers toe, ons gaan na die so ons skryf suit, ons skryf ons klere ons en donderdagoggend verlaat ek my 5 uur en ons skiet dan eers die middag 12 uur.
Ja.
Maar ek hou nie van verkeer nie, so ek ry 5 uur
Jy ry voor die verkeer.
voor die
ja.
verkeer. So as ek daar kom as die studio oopmaak 7 uur, set ek op, I do my sound checks, we have a rehearsal until about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock we have. So ja, met
Ek
daar
hoor
is nogal quite packed.
Ek sê nogal jy was die byspeler vir koortjies. Jy is die byspeler vir koortjies.
Nee, we still at it. In our 7th season.
Nice.
So dis nogal.
En daai show is groot want
Hy
dit
is-
is
hy
baie
is-
mense wat daarna kyk.
Ja, nee, hy's baie groot. Ek ken nie die ratings at the moment nie, but at the time we were the biggest music show in Cape.
Ja.
So ja,
So eintlik what you're telling me here is that a lot of doing music on a freelance level and an independent level is admin, is making sure you've got your depths for whatever residency you are in charge of, like you
course.
said, connecting gigs, you know,
Of course.
talking to festivals,
Does
talking
it?
to whoever. That stuff takes a lot of time. I mean, yeah, just the other day, I also had the the thing of like chatting to these people, a private private person that wanted to book one of the bands I play for, and it just fell through.
Yes, see.
It just fell flat. The
Na
negotiations
al
then,
die tyd.
yeah, no, all they knew learn okay, but from the start they were sort of not being sincere about their budget
no.
because now that we have to pay for a PA as well, oops, okay, the budget is not going to cut it.
Yes, see, man. Ja, nee,
So
dis
it-
nogal,
ja.
dis ding is. And I mean, something like, wat ek ook hou van om te doen is, soort van, just, soos ek gesê het, if I get an idea, I've got a show that I want to pitch, or wat ek nou, 'n gedagte gekry het nou net van. Then I spend time, I take at least 2-3 days, I write out a script, I think about music that I want to play, or just even, new repertoire. Dat is
Ja.
ook voor mij belangrijk. Repertoire is belangrijk. I've been to, dat is mijn eerste residency wat ik gehad heb. I've played in last year, in the beginning of this year, I played in another band voor a residency wat ons gehad had. En toen die mensen gezegd, ja, jullie spelen elke week na week
Dieselfde
dezelfde
songs, ja.
music. Ja. So it's important also to update your repertoire.
Die standards, nuwe standards.
Newer
en-
standards,
and-
but also some people, especially if you play popular music. Mensen wil hoor wat hulle op die radio hoor.
Ja.
Wat hulle op TikTok hoor. Wat hulle op YouTube hoor en so voort.
Maar
So you need to be also current.
Ja, is ook 'n ding van as hy residency kom, dan moet jy alreeds
Alreeds.
jy moet klaar reg wees. Jou band moet al
Dis wat gebeur met Asendal. Ons we were ready. And if I look back, January 2025, toe stuur ek my band 20 standards that they need to know. And I mean, uit die duisende standards wat daar is. But I just said, this is 20 standards that we are gonna play
Must
somewhere, somehow. En daar kom ek, so ons was al klaar 20 voor. I mean, we were baie meer voor, but I mean,
Ja.
ons het al lang al begin prepare. And that's another thing, as 'n mens nou kan dink, en my advies vir musikante,
Yes.
always try and be in a place of waar jy al prepare for what you want.
Ja.
One day, jy mag dalk nie die residency nou hê, but if ek kyk baie na die agencies en hulle requirements, en dan kyk ek natuurlik aan die mense wat op hulle websites is.
Right.
En so on.
En
There's
hulle
one guy that
portfolios.
said, hy staan al klaar 500 songs sterk.
Ja.
You understand? So we need to, if you want to work,
The stakes are high.
ja.
Ja.
Yes.
Nou sê vir my, ons praat nou van agents en so aan, doen jy enigsins self marketing vir jou music of het jy iemand wat saam met jou werk? Ek bedoel as jy het nou 'n album gerelease, so
Yes.
vat jy daai ding radiostasies toe. Hoe maak jy met dit? Want baie keer is dit maar 'n ding van jy's klaar so besig met jou goed, met jou TV show, met jou werk vir die TV show, jou werk vir die residency, dat jy het nie nou nog tyd om nou te gaan staan en independently music bemark nie.
Dit is so moeilik. Ek dink toe my album uitkom, het ek nog so 'n bietjie tyd gehad, maar ook I've reached out to somebody and obviously I've seen the results of what they can do. Maar toe ek sê maar dit is vir instrumental to change the hele ball game. They were good and functioning well for people with lyrics. Sing on the albums, like I say. When it came to instrumental, it was a different ball game. Couldn't be promoted on the same radio stations. It wasn't the same sound as what they used to as om te plug or to promote. But there's various, ek het 'n paar vriende genader, and obviously things you learn as you go along, as you grow along. I like that. Like there is platforms and there is agencies that you can contact actually that can plug your music and it. But even for cater vir mense soos ek of vir albums soos myne. And if I have to do it again, I will definitely do it differently. Ek het nie die tyd meer om om in die ronde te hardloop, to mail
Nee, want
en om te
it's
beg.
it's also yeah, that's the other part of it. It's very disheartening, or it
Ja,
can be
no,
disheartening
definitely.
because you are so involved with the product that you cannot really what's the word? You cannot afford to having to take all that flack on you and let that get under your skin, you
Yeah,
know.
true.
And now you're sending a whole lot of emails. Takes you like a whole day and nobody replies. I mean, surely that's gonna make you start doubting yourself.
I've
So
spoken to a very well-known radio personality, and she's given me contact details and said, mail me tomorrow. I've mailed tomorrow. I haven't since.
creak, 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 creak.
En ag men, soos jy sê, I even nog 'n storie. I've been to this radio station up in Joburg. They said, "No, please, we need your music. We want your music." I sent it. I went eventually. After a couple of years, I went there with a different project, different band, and I just asked out of curiosity, "Hey, have you guys ever received my stuff? Have you guys asked for it? I sent it." No, we don't remember. So
Yeah, it's
dat kan
funny.
nogal disheartening raak.
Ja, it's funny daai situations. Ons het nou van die lig af ook van so 'n situation gepraat, dus hoef nie nou weer daaroor te praat nie. Maar dis net funny daai situations waar jy jou paie kruis weer met iemand op 'n
Yes.
ander storie en dan
Yes.
vra jy vir hulle maar luister maar wat van daai storie? Maar jy weet, ons is ek eendag in 'n situasie waar 'n booking agent, jy weet, het ingekom waar ons gesit het en is nou maar net 'n booking agent by 'n random club, jy weet.
Yes.
En daar was toe nou dinge gesê en ons is soos maar dis nie die waarheid nie. Ek
Wow.
bedoel dit ons sit dan nou hier, jy weet, ons weet dis nie die waarheid nie. En jy weet dat daai saak word toe daar en dan reggestel en toe word
Yes.
daar gebloos, jy weet.
Wow.
Toe word daar dit is haar rooi gesigte.
Wow.
Ek is nie savage nie, maar ek gaan nie lieg nie. Daai het my klein bietjie laat lekker kry. En ek dink nou maar sommer aan daai situasies want ons het nou al 2 sulke stories gepraat waar 'n ding so ek amper sê full circle kom.
Of course.
Waar jy daai geleentheid kry om te sê maar jy wat nou van daai ding? Jy weet,
Exactly.
hier's ek nou weer. Het jy gedink jy gaan my nie weer sien nie?
Hoe lyk dit?
Ja, hoe lyk dit? Nee, daai marketing ding is hektiek. Dit is regtig want daar's so baie pitfalls daarso ook.
Yes.
Want nou jy weet jy raak so caught up in die ding van jy moet nou jouself boost hierso.
Yes.
So
yes.
ek meen wie wil
Yes.
eintlik ek weet sure daar's different strokes, different folks, different strokes, maar wie wil nou eintlik vir mense vertel hoe cool
is
jouself
ek? Ja,
is? Who wants to
I
do that?
hate it, man.
Yeah. Dis aklig.
I don't like it.
Ja.
I can do it for anyone else.
Ja.
Jean, ek sal inkom by jou studio, ek sê dis die beste studio.
Ja.
Maar as dit by my kom, I mean, who wants to do that?
Dis nie lekker nie.
Ja.
Maar nou dis hoekom ons hier is om dit vir mekaar te doen.
Of course.
So I'm going to take the ball and say that you are a bassist that gets booked to play on other people's recordings,
Yes.
which means that you have a sought after tonality.
Wow.
We already delved a little bit into that. You was mentioning about the gospel, mentioning about the African sound, of getting certain stuff that other people don't get. But now, and now I'm flipping it because I'm boasting you, but I'm also going to ask you to boast yourself or to boost yourself because I want to know which characteristic of you as a person, as a player, as an interactive listener and player, which characteristic do you think sets you apart from the rest and allows for that tonality and allows for Chadley Gower to be a name that people want to book on albums?
John, I've thought about this thing long and hard. Dis 'n topic wat ek seker natuurlik kan baie lank oor praat, maar comes down to just being a nice guy.
Yeah.
Dit klink baie eenvoudig, but I don't want to be associated to someone wat nie nice is nie. I mean, there's no boosspel. Ons gaan natuurlik deel met die spel.
No, net.
Ja,
Yes.
ja, en
Yes.
hoe goed jy kan wees, but I think in most cases, en dit gebeur met my because I need to book people as well. If you make me feel uncomfortable, I won't want to work with you. Because die werks, ek kry die beste uit 'n situasie uit waar almal lekker is met mekaar. Gemaklik is met mekaar. Ons daar is 'n mutual respect amongst mekaar en so dis van die goed wat ek na kyk. Oh, that's what I try to be. That when I go out or when people book me, I want to come. Daar moet nie hassles wees.
A facilitator of goodness.
Ja, maar daar moet net nie hassles wees met jou as persoon nie. En ek weet nie almal is omstandighede is different en nie almal het miskien goed opgestaan die oggend nie. So there's room for that, but I think just your general ding oor yourself moet net goed wees, jou ore moet goed wees. En dan natuurlik, who doesn't love a guy that comes prepared to a rehearsal, to a show, to a recording? You need to and bring your A game. Wat ek doen en is weer eens iets wat ek by Sammy Webber geleer het. Sammy Webber se saying is, I invest into gear, good quality gear, because dit is wat vir hom gaan op die einde van die dag dan betaal en dan 'n goeie lewe gee.
Yes. And also you play towards that gear. There's a thread or sort of a conversational thread that you earn the stripes. We were talking about the levels in church.
Yes.
So you also earn your stripes, of course, to start with a Sanchez or a whatever guitar.
Exactly.
And then you work your way up to whatever is in your bracket at that time. And then you go up, up,
True.
And then that instrument with a better tonality and a better sound, that inspires you to get better, to own that instrument.
Hey, come on now. True. I love what you're saying. So that is Sammy Webber's belief. Sonny Johannes, he's got the same. I still play chord up until today. But
dit is vir my nogal striking. I'm not going to lie.
We're gonna go into that. We're gonna go into that. Like Sonny Johannes also started out with a chord, and nou natuurlik uit die wêreld se beste keer. He's got MTD, he's got Saya, he's got Mark Bass, he's got Warwick, he's got everything, and he believes like for each style of music, you must have a certain bass for this, so he knows when to take out the P bass.
Yes, for sure.
And things like that. Wat wou ek nou gesê het?
Ons praat oor die gear en ons kom van chord gitars.
Ja, die chord, ek wil nou gesê het die chord. So oor die jare, obviously, I love my chords, but I've got Ibanez, and I know when to use it, especially on recordings. And I recently got Warwick.
Oh, cool.
But I've got a relationship with chord, obviously.
Yes, that is my next question is how does that work if you record indoor C? You said, especially the Ibanez, especially for recording. So that's cool because it's not really going to be, in the eyes of people. But how do you deal with like having to use different brands? But you're an indoor C, so obviously I've seen those contracts. They ask you to play,
of course,
Mapex or Zildjian or whatever.
Exactly. So on TV, I try to use my chords as much as possible, and I've got at least 3 professional high quality chords that I can use. Then depends on which one is works for the music or whatever. But obviously, I've fallen in love with that Ibanez. I've fallen in love with the sound of Warwick. I never used to play Warwick.
Huh.
It's the first time, and it's a beautiful instrument. It's a beautiful guitar.
Powerful tone.
But I need to say this about chord. The way chord has come up in the last couple of years in
Yeah.
terms of technology and in terms of sound, pickups and preamps and all that stuff. Man, up there with the rest of the world.
I hear you.
Up there
I
with the
hear
rest
you.
of the world. So it's not so I'm not pushing the brand on the show. It's just chord has really come to the party in a big way. And it's the brand that I grew up in church with, man. Dis al gitaar wat die kerke kon afford it back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's the sound that I fell in love with, and that's how they contacted me.
Very
And they said,
interesting.
Chad, we see you play chord. Come in for a meeting.
Very interesting. So now we understand where the choice of chord comes from.
Yeah.
And obviously we know you now that we've spent some time with you. You're a sincere guy. So
Yeah.
you're definitely not just saying that for pushing the brand.
No,
that is
not at all.
That's a deep, soulful connection with a certain brand.
Look, Sammy Weber called me. And obviously, he's got Warwick. He used to play Ibanez. We had the same Ibanezes. And what does he still have? He used to have a TRB Yamaha. And he called me once because he also loved the sound of the Chord A6. And then he got it. And then one day he called me, said, you need to come see me. I thought to myself, wat het ek nou weer verkeerd gedoen? Because Sammy would never call me after 7 to come to him in the evening. Let alone I need to drive from Kills River into the deep south if I need to. So it takes me about 40 minutes to get to his house. I sat there, he made me a cup of coffee. And then he first came out to the bag. Want to bless you with the bag. Then he said, I'm just fooling around. You can take the A6.
So come and bless you with a bag.
He
That's so
said,
funny.
but what he said next, actually, he said, I would never get the sound out of a chord that you get.
Wow.
So, and this morning, just before I came here, I've spoken to another great bass player from Paul. He's a left-handed bass player. Played this week, passed for the Articafia and all those Crescendos productions. And he actually said, yo, Chad, I watched you in Namibia and the sound that you got out of your chord. Man, it's something that I aspire to. That was his words.
That's the deep, soulful connection, what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
It's you.
So it's not just something that I'm saying. I really love the brand.
Once again, that's an extension of you. Your fingers found and whatever channels, whatever sits behind your fingers, which we know is the heart, how you function as a human being.
Yeah.
And then you're living through that instrument. So it's a very, very, very fine connection and deep and soulful sort of marriage there. Nou praat ons van instrumente en recordings en sulke goed. Kan jy vir ons deur die proses vat van as jy 'n call kry om op 'n recording te speel of op 'n song totdat jou parts gecapture is?
Yes.
Hoe werk daai proses vandat jy die call kry tot by jou parts wat jy nou opgeneem het?
Obviously ek was al in baie situasies, baie goeie en baie slegte situasies.
Yes.
Obviously, ons het nou, it's 'n band wat ek mee speel van Stellenbosch, Sun Quintet, en ons het opgeneem vroeër in die jaar.
Ek het gesien julle het geoperate daar
By Concept.
By Concept Records,
yes. And but we took a week of rehearsals. We decided, was it about 6-7 songs, written by the band or ouens in die band, hulle charts gebring, som het gesê, nee, ek het die chart verdien nie, feel it, you can contribute, this is the baseline. wat ek het vir die song. You can add to it, whatever, make it yours, or strictly. That's just the baseline that I want. Maar meeste gevalle, you have the freedom to contribute. Maar ek was ook al in situaties. Een van my goeie vriende wat ek nooit sal nee sê voor nie. I would never say no because hy het al vir my wonder, he's the guy that edited my album. En ek weet dit is extreme load shedding gehad. Then we would make a deal en say, look, die krag is aan vanaf 12 uur die nag tot 4 uur die oggend.
Oh.
Let's record your bass in that time. Because we were on a tight schedule. And dis hoekom ek sê ek sal nooit vir hom nee sê. One day he was in a needed bass on a record because he's into studio stuff, audio engineering. Ek dink jy het hom al ontmoet jaar. Toe ek die eerste keer hier kom was hy saam met my. Dis nog baie jare terug. En I said, but I need it now. I'll send you the audio and then please record a bass line. I need the track back tonight still.
No, but you have a home studio.
Yeah, I've got a home set up at home. En is toe een van die situaties wat ek Ibanez weer kan uithaal. And I recorded within an hour. It was easy to learn. Ek het vir my paar notas neergeskryf. Luckily it wasn't a hectic song. There's a few contributions and dis ook iets wat ek kom leer het. Hy sê vir my, give me 3 versions. Give me the book version, so meaning spell as is.
Yeah.
Give me your interpretation of what you feel in the song, and then give me something that you just play. Just go at it. Don't think.
That's very
And I sent him 3 versions, and he was happy, and I van stukkies van alles geuse. And
that is really fascinating. I love that idea.
I like it, and apparently it's the big thing in America.
Huh.
That's how they record, and ek weet nou nie vir ander genres, there's no specific gospel gewees.
In die gospel en die jazz wêreld. Ja,
Ja.
so die boek version wat jy voel en dan just playing. Just
yeah. So you can
laat
add
vibe.
a bit of riffs
yes.
and whatever. Just go at it. And dit is vir my ding. But ideally, I would love to have music in advance that I can listen to, that I can practice to.
But you can verteer.
Ja.
You can sit on it for a while.
Yes,
Ja.
and laat 'n bietjie mature and then I
Yes.
can contribute in that way. Maar ek verstaan dat die lewe is nie altyd so. En in most cases gaan jy maar tog maar oproep kry, Chad, we need you
Now.
now.
Ja.
I need you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you available tomorrow?
Most of that stuff is very last minute.
It's
Ja.
last minute,
Ja.
and it's also something that I had to deal with, and I speak about this thing, especially to my younger boys, and said, look, you won't always be the first call. Don't feel some kind of way if they call you and they say, you're my last hope,
Mm.
you're my last option.
No,
I
you
need you
just
to
go
pull.
for it.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Do the job, and that's how you will. Other doors will open.
Strip the emotion.
Strip the emotion because ons raak baie geheg aan daai emotion. Wow, hoekom het hulle vir my? Why wasn't I the first call?
Yeah.
Man, it's an opportunity where first you can earn an income for you and your family. You can build a new relationship. And in meeste gevalle, people will come back and say, now, you are deserving of the next opportunity. Ek was al in situaties waar die studio said, wow, okay, so you are sessionist. We'll call you for more session work.
Exactly.
Because kyk nou, jy was a last minute call and you actually nailed it.
Yeah.
Nee man, jy is iemand wat ek nogal kan bel.
Exactly.
You know how to work under pressure.
It's extending your game. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I referred to Gone But Not Forgotten earlier, music and theatre piece. I like that idea. If I'm understanding it correct, you sort of had this music and theatre piece where you worked with different artists and you
Yes.
interview them as well.
Yeah.
And, spoke about how they process grief and loss and how they find solace in music.
Wow.
So I'm interested to know, what was the golden thread? How the experiences of these artists, what was the reoccurring theme? How did they deal with these emotions through music?
Yeah, that was a very special show, man. At that time, I lost two of the people that I love the most. Oh, yeah. It's basically my aunt and her husband. And so after my granny passed, my parents moved to the Eastern Cape. It was me and that aunt and uncle that was still lives sort of based in
The
Cape Town.
province.
Yeah. And so they were my mother's in Eastern Cape. My aunt was the only grandmother my son knew that he could go every weekend to. If I'm busy and I have a gig or my wife also wants a night off, my son would stay with him as a baby and stuff like that. So we were very close. So yeah, yes, man. It was special. So
Yeah, if there is something that you can think of that's sort of the out of all these subjects, I don't want to call them subjects because it's not a field research. It's a very much deeper thing than that. But you know
yeah.
what I mean. Out of all
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah, yeah.
artists, what was the reoccurring
Of course.
theme of how music can give you solace when processing stuff like grief and loss?
Yeah. So it's so amazing, man. So I had I had Jason Wood. He was one of the artists. I had what's this Wendy, who was still part of it. I had Joe Kunuti, but I didn't interview him. He was one of the artists who was still anyway. But I interviewed obviously Jason and I've interviewed Wendy, and strange enough, Jason at that time worked or he had his own funeral business.
That's
So
ironic.
he dealt with death on a daily basis. And then Wendy spoke of dealing with death in the family and how music actually also sort of kept her sane. I love Jason's approach. Obviously, with him being, and he's such a beautiful musician, but he could speak out of a place where you kind of like have to take out your emotions out of this thing that he deals with daily, but also as the musician, because yeah, we would joke. That's not a funny thing, but sometimes when conducting a funeral, he needs to. There's maybe no church or no family or whatever. Then he needs to step in and sing a few choruses and
Wow.
deal with that
That
also.
is rough. I would not want to be that person. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So it's a thing that we needs to disconnect emotionally, but also connect on the other side of it. So that to me was that was a weird, but it brought so much light and shed so much light on that topic, and it came down to, and it might sound very harsh, but I thought about it, and it's right. Once you get to the point that life moves on and life goes on, that's the moment when you sort of
Ah,
have that aha moment.
I see.
But it's deep, man.
So it's a reset almost. It's
It's
about plugging out and
yeah,
plugging in again.
yeah. And Wendy, she was there in the room while we were having those interviews, and when he said that, it was almost like, oh, okay.
But at the same time, how can you say something like that? But oh, okay, no, I get what you are saying.
So yeah, no, that was deep, and it
Yeah.
was beautiful, and I think everyone's contribution then from that point onwards. And I mean, life went on from that production and that show we had into. I mean, if I look at the both of them, I haven't spoken to Wendy that much again. Now in recent times, I've spoken to Jason, but I have a view on what happens in their life when I see their status and stuff. Life happened, and I can actually see how they navigate through certain
Yes.
stuff and whatever, and maybe applying some of those
Skills.
skills
Yeah.
and
That
lessons
came
that we've learned.
came forward
But
in
music is
the
powerful
project.
because it's got that healing.
That is how you tie it together.
Yeah.
Yes. Like
Music's got that healing factor and that healing thing to it where for me as well, I mean, I cried for years still for my aunt and my uncle. I still get emotional sometimes. But music was the thing that kept us together. That um, I would never forget um, s- some of my greatest moments in music. They were there and how they celebrated it. And they celebrated me.
the highs and the
The highs
lows.
and the lows.
Yeah. I mean, like Bob Marley said, when it hits, you feel okay. It's
Exactly. You feel no pain.
very simple but very powerful.
Very, very powerful. So yeah, no, I am grateful for the gift of music
Yeah.
and what it means to me and what it does to me and for me.
Yeah. So beautiful. Ek wil klaarmaak, maar ek wil net laastens 'n bietjie hoor by jou wie se mense wat gewerk het saam met jou op daai album.
Wow.
Wat jy nou in April gerelease het. Ek wil bietjie jy moet bietjie name dropping vir my doen.
ek zal en het yes, I'm very, very grateful. Ek sal dit altyd vir hulle sê. On Sunday I played with the guitar, so ek het vir lank nie met hom gespeel nie because he went to live outside of the province for a bit. But Sondag toe speel ons 'n bietjie saam en hy speel so die eerste keer wat hy na lank tyd weer die musiek van die album speel. And it was like we were in studio, like that moment that ons gevoel het, that's the take.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes,
Ja.
I'll play you the ek weet nie of ek dink ek het 'n video, but it was like, yeah, you could hear his original guitars on the album, you know, that thing. So,
Wat is sy naam?
sy naam is Lee Ludolf.
Aha. I've seen that name.
Ja,
Okay.
en hy's nogal quite gewild. Hy speel in various setups.
Ja.
Even you will see him in the rock circles.
Okay.
Yeah, he's around. And the keyboard players, I use Brent Bailey, and he also hy het on board gekom ook as 'n arranger op die album. So he took some of those die demos met some songs and he arranged it a bit. Then Christian Martins also on piano. He was also co-writer with me on one of the songs that I speel ook. And then Brandon George, he was he's the one that worked with me on most of the songs, but towards the album re-record, he stepped out of it completely and he went into an audio engineer role in editing. Hy sê wat saam met my laatnagte en so aangesien het. Bass players, ek speel self, and then I've got two other bass players that plays couple of tunes. So I've got Ashwin Philander, he plays bass on Chila Time and His Love. Then I've got Craig van Willig, he plays bass on Congo to Cape Town and For My Good. And then I play bass on a couple of songs, and then I've got Sin bass on one of the on Beautiful Love. I've got Sin bass.
Okay.
And then on lead guitar, I've got only Lee Ludolf and Dustin, my old guitarist. So what happened on the 2018 recording? I took some of those files because I had all the stems and all the files, audio files. Then to fill up the spaces, I took some of my old guitars which Dustin Julius has recorded, and to sit ek sommer vir hom op nou by die nuwe album. And then
Oh, yeah.
saxes, the same thing. I had no new saxophones recorded for the new
You took the
recording.
horn parts
I
of
took
the
the horn
previous
parts of the
sessions.
previous sessions.
Okay.
So that is Zeke Cranes and August van der Westhuizen.
Okay.
And then the vocals, there was a couple of vocal stuff that I wanted. Like there's a song called Oh My Soul. There was a vocal thing. We couldn't use the recording on the old recording of 2018 because we've changed tempos and feel. So lekker, alhoewel jy weet mos in die software jy kan die song
You kan hom
stadiger
stretch.
we can stretch
Yeah.
of whatever, but it didn't feel right. So we decided, and we didn't want to re-record it. We lost also my net as an instrumental track. Maybe I'll release it at a later stage as a vocal track. There was some, even the opening track, there's some nice African, on the original recording, African voices and stuff like
Oh,
that. But I don't know,
nice.
maybe that's something for later.
Yeah.
Stage.
It's
Maybe
still
on the-
there.
Yeah,
You
of course.
can-
I still have it.
You can use it, like you just said. Yeah.
So jy kan dit doen, but a amazing team. Wat cool is van die ding is, en soos with something like His Love, it's a song that ek het eendag gekom hier so in Stellenbosch, is dit Birdstraat, en het ek een keer vir Ramon kom visit, en vir hom gesê, man, ek het die song, maar ek weet nie of hom klaar te skryf nie. And then he actually gave me some cool chord changes. So in one of the lines, dan gebruik ek Ramon's changes. And then
beautiful.
and then also in one of the songs, with Tyler Time, then as a nog 'n great gospel producer, Spencer Kennedy, and he gave me a line and said, "No man, you can use it whenever, anytime." And then I took his line that he gave me. En is goed wat ek eers agterna gedink het, this is actually Ramon's chords changes.
Yes.
This is actually Spencer's
So
changes.
it happened sort of organically.
Ja. En het so deel van die musiek al geword al.
Yeah.
En goed. So,
This
but
is
I'm
cool.
eternally grateful for the contributions. Oh, drummers. I've got Ethan Niekerk. Hy speel saam met my op koortjies. And I've got Lance Rode, he's the drummer for Emo Adams.
Of course.
Um,
That's when I not met you, but one of the first times I
Yes.
saw you was at a workshop at Paul Bosner, and you and Lance Rhoda was doing this
wow.
rhythm section workshop.
Yes,
That was many years ago.
Many years ago, yes, you're right.
uh,
Yeah, so Lance Rode is on the album. And then Samuel Bass's program.
okay.
So,
That's interesting.
yeah, we performed this song at the Artscape, and the drummer that played it, he asked me about the 16-note groove on the hi-hat. And who's the drummer?
Yeah.
I would like to, I said, hey man, it's a computer.
It's a computer. You're gonna have to ask the computer for
You have
permission.
You need to speak to AI. But in
Yeah.
all that, I'm honestly grateful. Without them, I don't think it would have been such a great success. I'm excited to work with the young boys on the new album,
Yes.
but also bringing in some old friends. I want to work with Lee Ludolf again on the album.
Yes.
I want to bring in Damon Cabinet. He's been a drummer in my band for quite a while. But at the time that I was busy with the album, he was very busy. So with this one, I would like to, because there's music that we've written, and he played a big part of it, obviously. But the youngsters is going to play the new stuff. And I'm looking forward to even working with more bass players.
Great.
Because I'm of the opinion that I'm not meant for all the music.
No, you have to take
That
yourself out of the song
exactly.
to actually fulfill another capacity of producer.
Artist.
Yes.
So
shaping the song, talking to the guitarist about his parts, talking to the drummer.
Exactly.
So tell me, lastly, Is there anything you would like to mention? Something that you are working on now? Any projects? Anything that you would like people to know about? Even if it's just the upcoming gig.
No, no. Look, I've spoken to my wife a couple of weeks ago, and I told her it seems like I'm gonna have to plan my year, and that was in June.
It seems like I'm going to have to plan my year, and that was in June. I like that. I like that.
Look, I mean, I've got my calendar and I can see what's in front of me from
Yes.
January to January, but I realized I'm so busy, I might just become too busy with everything happening and all the doors opening, and there's some great doors that opened.
Wow.
Um, so and that's the point where I said, look, I think I'm gonna have to relook at my year from June to June because now I'm already I was booked on the stage of Artscape Youth Jazz Festival
Yes, yes.
for next year's
For
Artscape.
next, yeah.
So now already I know the week of Youth Week. So around about the 13, between the 13 and 16, that's when it's gonna happen next year.
Dedicated to rehearsals
And all
and
that stuff. So
all
we
that
start
stuff.
with the rehearsals in May already. So I know May, June already is out of the picture for me. I can't do still a lot. But the stuff that I'm gonna do is gonna be during the day, recordings and whatever rehearsals that I'm gonna have. But
So,
there's other stuff like sorry to break the
mm-mm,
word. I'm
mm.
already booked for a very big gig January. February I'm doing my Taal Monument again. There's another big festival for the last weekend of Feb that I'm doing. March I'm going on a cruise ship again and things like that.
Yeah.
So I can already foresee, and now there's more stuff that got onto my plate, and so it's gonna really take some good planning.
Planning. Yes.
And with that, I still want to record my album. I still want to release my album. I want to play. So one of the things that I saw, Montreal Jazz Festival is happening on the 21st
I
of
saw,
of
yes, March,
March
Human
because
Rights Day.
the last weekend of March is Easter weekend. So now you need to take all of the things in consideration. Now I'm thinking to myself, so when is Jazz Fest gonna take place? Then
Yes.
I saw they say, but it's gonna be the whole of March. So I'm thinking about all of those things. So it's just good planning on my side. But there's a couple of stuff, few gigs that's coming up starting now. My July is quite packed. I've got every weekend at Hassendal, the 15th of July. I'm at Cape Town Jazz Club. Um, hoping Rory would mix for me. I've got 25th of July. I'm at Beautiful Living out in Fishhook, deep south. They saw me on the cruise ship in March,
Ah,
and they insisted I need to bring my band that I used
yeah.
on the boat because they love what we did.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go and perform for about 50 guests there. It's already I think sold out. Um, um, I've got 26th. I'm in the south again doing a they call it Jazz Vespers. It's at the Anglican Church where they just have a jazz afternoon. It starts at 5:30. I'm gonna go there with a trio. But that's also while busy still with Asendal. In that time, I'm recording Quirkies on the 16th and 17th of July. So a
Yes.
week before that, I'm still rehearsing. So it's a quite packed July,
It's a crazy
August.
schedule.
I'm busy. My September actually opened up a bit because there's some stuff that just cancelled and postponed to the next month. But then
As it goes sometimes.
October is again full. November has been full for the last 3 months. So and obviously then when October strikes, it's season time for us again, and then we busy. So it's my wife told me, hey, we must take a small break again, so that I can just reset and things like that. So yeah, I'm quite busy, but I'm grateful to the Lord for all the opportunities and
Yes.
also for the energy and for just being able to stand up in the mornings, sitting at my desk doing all my admin that I need to do, practice, checking out music. Grateful for the gift of Wi-Fi and YouTube
Yes.
resources,
Resources, yeah.
that I can get onto and just yeah. And it's currently school holiday, so I'm on daddy duties.
As we can see, your son is also here. There's two things I wanted to say. First of all, with that very jam-packed schedule, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to Mezzanine Talk.
Thanks for having me, man, and sorry for taking so long, man. I had to be a long time.
Yeah, that's how it goes. We've touched on that subject.
Of course.
Everything in good time.
Yes.
But then the other thing I'm taking, the takeaway that's really important for me from this conversation is if you're a cool guy, you'll get the work. Just be soft and gentle and
Yes.
understanding and respect people, put in the work hard, do your thing. Don't keep your head down. Don't expect the winnings too soon.
Yeah.
Be humble and do your thing. The rest will fall into place. And just I'm talking too much. All I want to say is if you can be a solid and cool guy, human being as Chadley, then you can operate, because we can see what the operator he has become in music. It was a great pleasure and an honor having you here, Chadley. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, and I really enjoyed coming out today. Yeah, man, may your podcast just grow from strength to strength and go from strength to strength. And I'm excited I love the space, first of all. Thanks for always accepting my call. I call you on the strangest times for rehearsal, but thanks for being so supportive of what I do and opening up your space. I really appreciate you. You're a cool guy.
That's what we do for each other. That's what we do in music as brothers.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chadley.
Sure.